Tonight on SportsDesk, flying frisbees, off the bench host Aiden Scanlon takes his shot at ultimate frisbee.
Plus, Far From Home, a look at one Canes golfer from Europe and her goals for the rest of the season.
And finally, keeping faith. Tucker Kinney tells us more about how Canes athletes are blending their faith with their sport.
All this and more tonight on SportsDesk.
And it starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Reese Davidson. You're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching SportsDesk.
I'm Jalen Phillips, and you're watching SportsDesk.
I am Michael the Playmaker Urban. You are watching SportsDesk.
It's always bittersweet this time of the year. The semester's ending, but that means SportsDesk is going to come to an end soon.
I know, Manny, soon it's going to be your last time on the desk, but thank God that's not tonight. Hello and welcome back to SportsDesk. I'm Sophia Mazza.
And I'm Manny Nacarado. Thank you for joining us. And with the semester coming to an end, that means baseball season is wrapping up soon.
Yeah, the Canes had a midweek game against the Bulls. Manny, what can you tell us?
Well, that's right. The USF Bulls came into town Wednesday night to take on the Hurricanes. Let's send it off to Mark Light Field and take a look at those highlights. All right, so it's the Canes versus the Bulls. Let's take it to the top of the first. That's Lance Triple. He's going to take a single, and that's going to bring in the runner on third. Bulls up early in the first. That's 1-0. And here's a bunt from Jevin Relaford. And here's Jake Dorn just missing the throw there over Brylan West's head. He's going to advance to second, bring in another runner for the Bulls. That's 2-0. But here's Alex Sosa with an answer. This is going to be a triple as the left fielder is going to fumble the ball. And that's going to bring in Jake Ogden, and Alex Sosa is going to stay at third here. What a great play from Alex Sosa. He's been having a spectacular season so far for the Canes. Here's Max Galvin, though, getting in a single. He's going to bring Sosa in and advance Derek Williams to third. Miami getting the tie here. Here's the top of the third. That's Joey Brencheski going yard on the Canes. He's going to hit a solo home run there, and that's going to be all she wrote. USF would get another run in, but that's going to be your final score at 4-2. Miami plays tonight against Stanford.
After a tough loss to USF, the Hurricanes are looking to bounce back in a weekend series against Stanford. Our Inside Pitch crew is live in studio to tell us more on how the Canes will stack up against the Trees.
Welcome back to Inside Pitch. My name's Jaden Cohey, joined by analyst Johnny Mushin. Johnny, the Canes are on a 4-series win streak, and they are having an outstanding performance going into their mid to back half of the season. What about their performance has stood out to you?
Well, JJ, some things have been inconsistent for the Canes. The pitching is one of them, but the one thing that's been consistent have been those Miami bats. Not just the best in the ACC, but some of the best in the NCAA. With their power hitters and contact hitters, they have been nasty going into this latter part of the season. Taking a look at some of these batting highlights. In the past 4 series, they're batting over 300 in those last 5 to 6 ACC putouts. They're averaging 7 to 9 runs a game. They chase those difficult pitches, but they do not get overzealous, and they're not impatient at the plate whatsoever. They are the perfect hitting team for going into that Omaha season. Now, they're not just hitting as well. They're stringing together quality at-bats, and that is going to be instrumental if they want to make another deep season and a deep postseason run eventually heading their way to Omaha.
You know, when I think of perfect team, there are 3 players that come to mind. So, Johnny, please tell me about the trio that is carrying the Canes right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's those guys in the middle of the order, 3 insane power hitters. First off, you got Daniel Cuvée. Maybe not the best facial hair in the ACC, but definitely one of the best third basemen in the NCAA with 11 home runs and 41 RBIs. Then you got Derek Williams. 3 words come to mind. Careless, confident, and quiet, but he's been able to do all that with 14 home runs and leading the team in ribbies. And then Alex Sosa, the best backstop in the ACC, coming off from the Wolfpack to the Hurricanes. He's been incredible with 10 home runs apiece. They're going to be some of the main guys to look at in that postseason run as well.
Now, if the Canes want to make it to Omaha, they got to keep it up, Johnny. So what do they got to do? Give me Johnny's locks of the week.
Exactly. The Canes are in the West Coast right now in California. So get those chainsaws ready to cut down those trees. First off, we got, for real, Canes did lose their first win week bump of the entire series, of the entire season. So make sure you don't let that shake up you at Stanford. Then second off, we got Sap Happens. Make sure those starting pitchers are on lock, but if they're not, don't let that affect the bullpen in any way. And then finally, we got keep calm and carry on. It's a very talented bullpen and starting pitcher rotation for Stanford, so make sure to chase those pitches and get the offense moving.
I like the puns, Johnny. And that's all the time we have for Inside Pitch today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Let's see if the Canes can keep their ACC win streak alive and how the Miami Arms will fare against Stanford. Our reporter Gio Alonso is live from Palo Alto, California to give us the scoop. Gio?
Thanks, Sophia. Now, if you couldn't tell by the fact the sun is beating down on me from above right now, tonight we're not in Miami. I'm outside of Klein Field at Stanford Sunken Diamond on the campus of Stanford University, where Canes baseball is going to be playing the next 3 games of their weekend series against the Cardinal. Now, Miami's been dominant across the last month of the season. The biggest reason behind that has been their starting rotation. Rob Evans, Lazaro Collera, and AJ Siskar combined for this past weekend against Wake Forest, combined for 20 2/3 innings, only 3 earned runs, and 16 strikeouts. And the starting rotation being so dominant allowed the bullpen to really be very smart, in particular in the situational awareness, and get a lot of results out of this past weekend. Now, Miami takes on Stanford tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in Game 1 of 3 of this weekend series. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Giovanni Alonso.
Thanks, Gio. Coming up, our reporter Johnny Mushton sheds light on a group working to spread awareness for sexual assault. This and more after the break.
Howdy, y'all, as they say here in Texas. Josh White at UFCU Dish-Falk Field in Austin. Just want to say happy 30th anniversary to SportsDesk, the best show in college television, hands down. SportsDesk holds such a special place in my heart, as not only was it the place where I spent most of my Fridays in college, but the place that gave me lifelong friends that have become family. Here's to the next 30 years. Go Canes.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Shay McDonald got to sit down with one Canes golfer to discuss her plans for attacking the rest of the season. Shay, take it away.
Welcome back to another edition of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Shay McDonald. Today, I'm here with Canes golfer Rebecca Gardner. Rebecca, how you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Pleasure to be here with you. And, coming off that Clemson Invitational, how do you feel about the season and how you're looking to attack the rest of the season?
As a team, I think we've experienced a lot of challenges and a lot of good times over the course of the season. For me, I've learned a lot, and I think I've grown a lot. We're just looking to finish the season strong, and I think that's what we deserve.
You play a lot of international competition, being able to represent your home country. What is that like, being able to do that?
That's just an incredible experience. I've done it now for a lot of years, and I've gone to a lot of cool places, and I've met so many nice people, made so many great friends that I'll have for years to come, and I think I take great pride in where I come from and playing for my country. Speaking
of all this international competition, a lot of it does come to this Miami program. You got all these different people from all these different places. What's this kind of team energy like?
It's really, really, really cool. We have a lot of fun, a lot of different personalities. I think we have 5 European girls. We're all doing the same thing. We're all so far from home. It's just, we have a lot of fun and a lot, aside from the hard work.
One thing I saw at one of these team activities going back to January was the team kind of making these vision boards. What was on your vision board?
On my vision board, I played a lot of soccer when I was younger, so it was a lot of Liverpool. I'm a big fan of them, so a lot of the players I look up to. And in the future, I definitely want to do something in sport. I'd love to play golf. I'd love to turn professional. I've still got a bit of time yet to make up my mind, but definitely something in sport. I love sports.
Thank you for joining us today. That's Rebecca Gardner. I'm Shay McDonald, and back to you guys.
Thank you, Shay. A big week for track and field and golf for the Hurricanes. Our O Sports Roundup crew is here to break it all down. Guys?
What's up, Canes fans? Welcome back to this week's edition of the O Sports Roundup. I'm Alyssa Golden.
And I'm Cameron Williams. The men's team wrapped up their regular season ending 6-7 in the ACC after an impressive 4-3 win over Florida State. On Thursday, the men traveled to Cary, North Carolina, where they suffered a 4-0 loss to Duke, ending their hopes for an ACC championship title. Yet the Canes still have life as they await a possible at-large bid into the NCAA tournament set to take place at the end of May. Alyssa, the men's team still holds hope. How are the ladies looking?
Yeah, Cameron, the women's team entered the ACC championships as a 5 seed, taking on 12-seeded Wake Forest. The Canes set the tone early with a double sweep, but the match came down to the wire in singles play. Miami was able to edge out Wake Forest 4-3, advancing to take on 4-seeded Duke. Cameron, how is it looking on the golf course?
Well, listen, Miami entered the ACC championship in Wilmington, North Carolina, as the 13th seed, sitting 73rd nationally. The Canes shot an impressive 4 under in their second round after a shaky first. The Canes moved up to the 8th spot in the tournament, led by Stella Jelinek, who shot 1 under par through 2 rounds. After the third and final round today, the Canes wound up shooting 9 over, finishing the tournament in the 10th place. Alyssa, how did our Canes perform at the Hurricane Alumni Invite?
The track and field team capped their home slate with multiple 1-2 finishes last weekend, including in the women's hammer throw and men's decathlon. Desmond Coleman took gold in the discus, and Magdalene Campo won the high jump with a mark that ranks 7th in the nation. The Canes are now in Gainesville for the Tom Jones Invitational, where Maddie Shire has already broken the school record in the steeplechase.
That's all we have for the O Sports Roundup. Back to you.
Thanks, guys. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and one group here in Miami is doing its job to get the word out by getting people up and moving. Johnny Muschin has the story.
At the beginning of every April, hundreds in South Florida gather to do one thing: walk, and walk, and walk some more. And even though it might seem mundane, these steps are not just physical. Each one represents a step forward in educating others about sexual assault. The annual Walk a Mile in My Shoes event is hosted by Lauren's Kids, which is a nonprofit organization designed to help educate K-12 students in South Florida about how to be safe and aware of sexual abuse.
We believe that the foundation needed to be created to give people an opportunity to learn through education and awareness how to better prevent childhood sexual abuse. The whole goal of the foundation is education and awareness.
The nonprofit is led by Lauren Book, a survivor of childhood abuse, who turned her story into a statewide mission.
People believed that child sexual abuse happened over there to those kids in those neighborhoods, not in my temple, not in my synagogue, not in my church. Child sexual abuse happens anywhere. The greatest risk factor of being a victim of child sexual abuse is being a child. And it shouldn't hurt to be a child. And unfortunately, all too often it does.
The organization's curriculum reaches thousands of students, but the message just doesn't stop in the classroom. Every April, participants take part in a nearly 1,500-mile walk across the Sunshine State, from Key West to the Panhandle, spreading awareness along the way. And along the route, strangers stop, ask questions, and start conversations.
When people see you out there and they see our signs and they see what we're doing out there, it's going to bring awareness.
At the center of it is a family, turning personal trauma into public advocacy.
You don't need to suffer in silence. It may seem impossible to overcome some of the things that you're dealing with, but with support, with guidance, with love, you too can become a thriving survivor, and it's never too late.
And as the walk continues north, so does the message. Prevention starts with awareness. Reporting in Miami, I'm Johnny Muschin, UMTV.
Time for a short break, but when we return, Jeremy Fonseca takes us behind the post to talk all things Canes social media. But first, it's time for some trivia. With Miami making the trek to Palo Alto this weekend, it marks their 8th trip to the West Coast. But when was their last trip? Was it A, 2012, B, 2001, C, 2006, or G, 2008? The answer when SportsDesk returns.
SportsDesk was such a defining part of my time at the University of Miami. As a technical director, I learned how to focus, listen, and work under pressure. and to be a part of something bigger than myself. When the credits rolled at the end of each show, I knew if I'd had a successful life. SportsDesk forged the path to my future. Even though I didn't stay in broadcast, I stayed in the industry. I'll always feel nostalgia, gratitude, and pride for that experience and for the impact Professor Julby had on my career.
Where are you guys going for the summer?
That's a good question.
I'm studying abroad in Barcelona.
I'm going to be in Japan this summer for 2 weeks.
What about you?
On a cruise.
There you go. That's nice.
We're all travelers.
What's up, Canes? It's Erica Orstad, class of 2019, and former reporter and anchor for SportsDesk. I'm so excited to celebrate 30 years of SportsDesk. What a huge accomplishment and a milestone for the show that means so much to so many people like me. So here is to 30 years of an amazing show, 30 years of crew members that made it possible, and to the next 30 years of SportsDesk. As always, go Canes.
Welcome back to SportsDesk. If you guessed C 2006, you'd be correct. The Canes are making their first trip back to California since facing UCLA in 2006. This trip alone is just 212 miles short of all the other trips the Canes will take out of South Florida combined this season. But on to a less common sport, Aiden Scanlon takes us off the bench and to the IM field, where he gave Ultimate Frisbee a try. Aiden, take it away.
What's up, guys? Decided to pick up Ultimate Frisbee. The UM Club Frisbee team just made regionals for the first time in 12 years, so what a better way to learn here. My name is Aiden Scanlon, and I'm getting ready to take you on the field and off the bench. Let's go. Before things started to ramp up, had some basic stretching routines here. And let me be honest, this was probably the most straightforward basic part of practice, because as you'll see, my struggles will just start from here. Once all the stretching was done, it was finally time for me to get some instruction on how to actually throw the Frisbee from Ultimate Frisbee team player Carrick. And let's say the forehand was pretty simple, just like on a beach. Backhand, though, I wasn't too sure about that.
You try to hold with pinch between your thumb and your fingers, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely back like that. And then this is, yeah, and then you sling it, kind of like think of like skipping a rock.
Okay.
Rolling dice or something.
Gotcha, yeah. All right. So now with Carrick finally putting some trust in me, it was time to put my knowledge to the test. And let's just say I got really comfortable with that forehand throw, really not working much to the backhand there, really one-hand tool. But now it was time to move into some drills.
If you make the throw a bad throw because you're in their face, then yeah, it's good. So I can only go
I don't really know what they're talking about. They're throwing a lot of slang out there right now. So after a little bit more than a brief period of time standing around, it was finally time to put my skills to the test here.
Okay. Like basketball, pivot foot. Yeah. That's strap right there. Hey, you got this. You got this. Ready? Yeah. All right. Tap it in. Hands out, wide low.
They say in the industry that defense wins championships, so that's the mindset I'm going to stick with. Yeah. But now it's time to get set for the 3-on-3 mini scrimmage. And let's just say this is where things get a little tense. So with that being said, cue tense music.
Okay, cool. Let's go, baby. Come on. Let's go, baby.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you haven't been.
Never doubt me. What's up? Had an absolute blast today with Vice Ultimate out here at the IM field. An absolute privilege and an honor in their best attempt to make the national championships. My name has been Aiden Scanlon, and I just stick to you on the field and off the bench. Let's go, guys. Yeah.
Some new faces are making their way to Miami for both men's and women's basketball for this upcoming season. And our Hang Time crew is here to introduce the new additions to the teams. Guys?
Welcome back to Hurricane Hang Time. I'm your host, Ariel Lopez, joined by Liam Hickey and Sarah Landau. Tipping things off, big shift on the women's side with new leadership at the helm. Sarah, give us some background about the new associate head coach and a new addition to the roster.
Yeah, Ariel, there's 2 new additions to this Miami team, 1 coach and 1 player. Starting off with Jasmine Zodia, the 6'3" freshman coming all the way from France, and she's going to be a big deal for the team, especially since she's a center, and with Rashea Kyle, who just graduated last year, she's going to be a big addition to the team. Also joining them is Jean Hill, associate head coach, who was the former Georgia State head coach and a longtime friend of head coach Trisha Cullop. But of course, we can't forget about our former Canes who are making a big splash in the WNBA, starting off with Rashea Kyle and Beatrice Montpremier, who are both signing with the WNBA for training camp with the Minnesota Lynx and the Seattle Storm, respectively.
And jumping into men's basketball, let's start with Jay Lucas shifting some things around via the transfer portal. The Canes have acquired Somto Surreal. How do you think he'll compare to Uday?
Coach Lucas has his cornerstone duo for next year, bookending Miami's roster by adding in 2 positional pieces at center and point guard. And Somto Surreal is a bulldog, but not just because he played at Georgia. Explosion and aggressiveness is what jumps off that tape. He is an elite shot blocker, actually led the SEC in blocks, and also he can baptize defenders at the rim as he led the nation in dunks last season.
You're right, and he's definitely a threat, and that's exactly the addition needed in the front court. But Miami didn't stop there. There's also 1 new guard joining Miami. Liam, break down his strengths and weaknesses.
Well, Caden Lewis is a prodigy and a proven winner. He's one of the highest usage players in terms of freshmen last year, while leading Villanova to the NCAA tournament. A crafty and surgical finisher at the rim, an absolute turnover machine on defense, and a high-level playmaker that averaged over 5 assists per game. Absolutely dominant on that side of the ball. He is one to watch for this Miami roster going forward into the 2026 and 27 season.
Well, that's all we have for this week's edition of Hurricane Hang Time. Back to you.
Looking forward to seeing these new faces play next season. And speaking of new faces, previewing the spring game and taking a look at Canes Baseball Social, Jeremy Fonseca is here to be your host with the most this week, taking you behind the post. Jeremy?
Jeremy, we need you on behind the post. Gio's at Stanford.
All right, I already know what you're gonna say. Man, Gio Alonso looks really different, but way more handsome. Sorry, Gio. Well, the UMTV budget can't get us the best stunt doubles, or even a tie for that matter. So this is gonna have to do. With that being said, I'm Jeremy Fonseca. This is Behind the Post, and tonight I'll be your host. Now, you might think it's always sunny in Philadelphia, but I'm here to tell you it's even sunnier here in Miami. The Canes just finished their 4th ACC series where they exercised the Demon Deacons. Canesmen even got in on the fun and left Wake Forest Instagram in shambles with this amazing edit.
What an afternoon. And down and point play by Austin. Reaches up and makes the catch. What a play.
Surely they carried that momentum action into the midweek, right? Right? Well, let's just forget about baseball for now. Heading over to the hardwood, Canes Hoops just picked up 2 studs in Somto Surreal and Caden Lewis. But these new additions have made me sentimental for one of the biggest dogs we've seen in a while, Ernest Uday Jr. And even though his season might be over, he's still doing his thing in the PIT, getting ready for the draft. While Uday is getting ready for the draft, I'm getting ready for Canes football. Miami's hosting our spring football game where we'll get to take a look at our new quarterback, Darian Mensah, and my GOAT, Malachi Tony. Well, that'll do it for me here. But always remember, if you need the scoop on Canes social media, we'll be right here giving you the latest. I'm Jeremy Fonseca, and I just took all of you behind the post. Back to you.
Still ahead on Sports Desk, the NBA play-in tournaments are underway, and LaMelo came up with some late-game magic for the Hornets. This and more when we come back.
Hi, my name is Erica Glass. I was one of the Sports Desk EPs in 2015-ish, a long time ago. Julby asked me to talk about how much I love Sports Desk. It was my favorite thing to do when I was at the University of Miami. I'm so grateful for everything that I learned on that show, for all the things I got to try and everything I got to experiment on. Enjoy this time, have fun, and go Canes!
Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
For many athletes, faith is a big reason why they compete. And our reporter Tucker Kinney tells us about how some Hurricane athletes practice their faith on and off the field.
Many college athletes will thank God after a big win. But for some, faith is more than a soundbite. It's a daily decision shaping how they compete, how they carry themselves, and above all, who they are.
People will say, oh, you play football, and that's what they'll identify you as. But personally, it's not that it's a bad identity. I would just rather be identified by Jesus.
I really had a hard time my first almost year and a half of trying to trying to separate the identity as an athlete and identity as a Christian.
Part of the struggle comes from the demand of athletics, another from the culture they're surrounded with.
You know, a locker room is not necessarily the most, holy place, let's say. But that's where they get a chance to be a light in a dark area.
Am I here to be a better football player? Absolutely. Am I here to be a better teammate, to grow as a man? Absolutely. But part of that growth comes with, hey, I'm going to spread the love of Jesus with as many guys as I possibly can.
Key to their walk is communities like the Baptist Collegiate Ministry. On campus for 75 years, the BCM presents a chance to be more than a football player.
People see you as humans, they don't see you as athletes. Like you're not defined by the sport because they don't care.
For these athletes, their faith has meant more than they could have anticipated.
Without Jesus, I would be dead, right? 100%. That's just the truth. If I didn't know Christ, I would be a shell, and I would be a dead man. I would be the walking dead. I'd be a dead man walking. I'd be a zombie.
It's a sentiment shared by athletes across the nation, and the impact hardly stops with just one person.
If an individual on a team makes a decision, and then two individuals make a decision, it becomes a ripple effect.
Tucker Kinney, UMTV.
Thanks, Tucker. The Hornets and Heat faced off in the play-in tournament once again, this time with a dramatic finish. Let's take it to Spectrum Center for this week's Play of the Day. On Tuesday, with less than 10 seconds in overtime, LaMelo Ball delivers the final blow here with a go-ahead layup. And then on the other side of the ball, Miles Bridges seals the deal with a defensive stop right here to secure their spot to play the Orlando Magic tonight and abruptly end the Heat season and what could have been their 7th consecutive playoff appearance. That's it for this week's Play of the Day.
And finally, golf's greatest tournament wrapped up over the weekend. Let's send it off to Augusta and take a look at who took home the green jacket at the Masters. Hello, friends. Let's take it to hole number 18, where Rory McIlroy sealed the deal and went back-to-back at the Masters. That was earlier in the day on the 12th hole, getting a nice par 3, finishing up his nice par 3 there. And here's a shot at the winning putt where Rory McIlroy cemented his name in history. Won back-to-back Masters. He's only the 4th golfer to ever do that in history. But it was a day full of drama at the Masters. Rory went into Saturday with a 12-stroke lead and then lost it Sunday. And to start Sunday, lost it. Cam Young, they were neck and neck, but Rory found a way to pull it out, and congratulations to him.
Insane accomplishment. What a way to join the greats. But that's all the time we have for this episode of Sports Desk. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back here next time, same place. Have a great night, everyone.